Welcome to High Infidelity, the best cheating videos on YouTube. If you enjoy this content, remember to subscribe and turn on notifications. Now let's get into the video.
My 30 male affair seemed to have improved my relationship with my wife, 29 female, and it feels too good to be true. Yes, I am aware that I am a scene bag. I'm the human equivalent of. In every sense of the term, I'm a jerk. Feel free to criticize me in the comments area, but know that I will most likely agree with you. So I've been married for 6 years and have been with my wife for 12 years. She was and still is the most gorgeous and flawless girl I've ever encountered, making my error all the more horrible. There was never anything wrong with our marriage. She was the perfect wife. I was a complete. It all began at work. Because I worked in the family company, I hold a very high position. There was this intern, whom I'll refer to as Claire. She was 19 years old and gorgeous. The sort of beautiful that flaunts it. It started with her flirting with me for a while. Light touching, laughing at my stupid jokes, and so forth. I'd never had this much attention before, so I was ecstatic. It started with lunch dates, then messaging, and then sleeping with her on a corporate excursion. I was instantly appalled and filled with remorse. That night, I drove straight home and confessed to my wife. It didn't end in screams or anything, just her sobbing and questioning me. I answered all of them honestly. She seemed to be broken. She's seen Claire before, when she comes to see me at work. I didn't ask her to take me back, but I did accept full responsibility. I told her she could have everything if she wanted a divorce. The home, the vehicle, and the alimony. Anything. We don't have any children yet. I also earn many times as much as she does, but I didn't want her to give up her way of life because of my blunder. That was the last thing she wanted, she said. My wife assured me that it was a one-time occurrence and that I would not repeat it. She asked whether I still loved her, and I said that I did, wholeheartedly, which is true BTW. Seeing someone you care about suffer was not worth the cheap pleasure of adultery. It's been a year since then, and things have changed. I've certainly been trying to make amends with her, even though I know I can't, and working on our relationship more. The thing is, so has she. She's been going above and above. She's always been a caring and dedicated wife, but I believe she's gone above and beyond. She started cooking more often, stopping by my office for lunch more frequently, and she's become more self-conscious about her appearance, gym, makeup, etc. With all of the attention I've been receiving, it seems like we're back in the honeymoon period. It's almost as though nothing occurred. She never mentioned it again after that night. I gave her access to everything and all of my passwords. I even had her fingerprint registered on my phone, but she always stated she didn't need it and that she trusted me. A little dubious part of my mind felt she was attempting to get back at me, hypocritical, but I couldn't blame her, but I knew she wouldn't cheat. How do I know this? Her dearest buddy informed me. A few months after the adultery, one of her buddies was planning a bachelorette party, and she was scheduled to spend the night. I was shocked to see her returning at 10 p.m. I then received a call from her closest friend, who referred to me as a lucky since my wife supposedly fled the minute the strippers arrived. She also informed me that my wife never took off her wedding ring when they went out, and that if males flirted with her, she would flash it to them and cut them off. Her whole buddy group despises my guts and suggested she get even, but she told them all off and supported me. My best buddy closed the phone conversation by asking me not to mess up again. I know I don't deserve her, and as a result, I've been going out of my way to treat her the way I promised. Just like a queen. She's been talking about having children lately, and although I'm pleased for her, it seems too wonderful to be true. What happened to my karma? I'm still haunted by what occurred and have dreams about it. Every time I do, she recognizes what's going on and tells me she's forgiven me, kisses me on the cheek, and tells me how much she loves me. Isn't it meant to be the opposite? Maybe the guilt I'm still bearing as a result of that is my karma. I've been pretty pleased recently, but there's a tiny part of me that says, you don't deserve her. Is this something I'm overthinking? Is karma lurking around the corner, ready to strike? Would counseling be beneficial? If you cherish your relationship, don't allow others flirt with you. There is no such thing as innocent flirtation. If you don't stop it, it will become worse. It's common for people to advise don't cheat, but I believe the best advice is to avoid putting oneself in a position to cheat in the first place. Guys, learn from my mistakes and don't be like me. Take after my wife. Story 2. Wife cheated with her ex. More than a year ago, I, 33 male, found that my wife of nearly 3 years, 28 female, was using birth control pills when we were attempting to conceive. The issue was that she pretended to be trying to become pregnant and took 1 or 2 pregnancy tests along the road to show me she wasn't. When I discovered she was lying to me, I was devastated. We had a dispute, and I decided to spend a few days at a hotel thinking things through. I liked her, and still do, so I decided to give her a second opportunity. She told me that she didn't feel ready to have a kid because of her hard job, she founded her own business, and that she changed her mind along the road, but she didn't want to inform me because she didn't want to upset me. At this time, I agreed to move in, and a few days later, I overheard her on the phone discussing an affair with her ex. She warned him not to discuss what had transpired between them, and that it was a mistake. They only meet one another for business reasons. She established her own company, and he knows individuals who can assist her. He was continually hitting on her, and I made it a point to tell her on many times that I didn't approve of them working together. I was sad. I couldn't put my head around the reality that she was her ex while I was trying so hard to forgive her for lying to me. I confronted her, there was a lot of sobbing, and she attempted to tell me that it was a one-time occurrence, but as I left, she panicked and believed I was abandoning her. She also said that they simply had oral with no penetration or anything else. I'm still not convinced. I finally left her for good this time and filed her with divorce papers a few weeks later, but she discovered she was pregnant. I wanted her to take a patterning test because, even though she was assuring me it was mine, I couldn't believe a word she said. When she was around 8 weeks pregnant, she took the test and verified it was mine. My lawyer recommended me to halt the divorce proceedings and wait till she delivered birth before divorcing her. When she gave birth, I moved back in to assist her care for the kid. She ultimately persuaded me to go to couples counseling, and I wanted to give her another opportunity. This time, I informed her that I required honesty and that she needed to cease communicating with her ex. Our child is now 7 months old. She didn't set a password on her phone and constantly disclosed her whereabouts with me. I could see she was attempting to regain my confidence. The trouble is that I can't totally trust her. I have to second-guess everything she says, check her phone, her whereabouts, and I become jealous when she's with other guys. She was just out of town for business last week, and when her old college girlfriend hosted a party, her ex was present, but I just found out from one of her friend's Instagram posts. I questioned her on the subject. We got into a violent disagreement, and she told me she didn't want to tell me he was there because she knew I'd be envious. I can't help but assume that something occurred between them again and she's lying. I feel like she's taking advantage of how much I love her to continue to harm me. Please advise me on how I might regain my faith in her. Update: I just wanted to thank everyone who took the time to offer me advice, as well as everyone who took the time to talk with me and advise me privately. I simply want to emphasize that my wife is financially self-sufficient and does not rely on me to provide for her. I adore spending time with our kid. I don't consider myself to be a babysitter, but rather a parent. I had numerous talks with my wife, and she eventually revealed that that night it was more than just oral, that they had intercourse throughout the night, and that she left the following morning before work. I demanded all the specifics. It was terrible, but I wanted to know what truly occurred. She told me she was captivated by him, that he reminded her of what they might have had together, but she messed up and was sorry. At this point, I realized she wasn't giving me the full truth. She was cherry-picking what she told me to make herself appear like the victim. I decided to call her ex while she was gone, and he verified that they only had that night, and after my wife turned cold on him when I discovered the two of them were having an affair. Then, a few weeks later, she contacted him, sobbing, to tell him she was pregnant and that he may be the father. We were separated, and I even served her with the divorce. She ultimately forced her ex to take a paternity test and planned to get an abortion if he was the father. He further verified that when they ran across one other again, she just said hello and departed the party. I was ready to divorce her at this time, but I had set a deadline for her to tell me the truth. She ultimately confessed to me before the deadlines, and no, she wasn't in communication with her ex. Since I had her phone with me at all times, and we had a horrible confrontation in which I told her she could leave me if she wanted and that I had no intention of keeping her hostage. She told me how much she loves me, that the affair was a mistake, that she was concealing the truth because she didn't want to upset me, and that she understands she messed up but wants to make things work. I surprised her with a polygraph exam on Valentine's Day. I told her we were going out to lunch, and when we were in the parking lot, I informed her that I had spoken to her ex and knew more than she did, and that this was her final opportunity to tell me all that had transpired. She took the lie detector test without arguing with me, confirming everything about the affair and dispelling any doubts I had about her going to the gym, flirting with other males, and sometimes taking off her rings while she's out with her friends. We had a few disputes over the last several days, which ended in her fainting, getting a fever, losing her appetite, and weeping a lot. And she seems to be regretful. I madly love my wife, and I know a lot of you will call me an idiot for making this choice, but the heart wants what it wants, and I can't resist it. I am aware that I am voluntarily making the option to be with her, which entails continually policing her. I'm thinking of giving her the next 2 weeks as a trial run. I made it plain what I expected from her to see if she really wants our marriage to thrive, and she has so far shown that she wants me to forgive her.